Hey everybody, welcome to Big Valley Living. I'm Michelle.
And I'm JJ.
We are part of an exciting collaboration. It is called The Pies of March, and it's co-hosted by Leanne at Mennonite Farmhouse.
And Tony at Kettle Kitchen.
Thanks for the invitation. So there are 31 collaborators making all kinds of fun and delicious pies. We ended up making one of JJ's favorite pies, and it's the first time I've ever made one from scratch. We are making a banana cream pie for you today. And it is so yummy looking. We had to wait till it's set up, so go ahead and show them. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. So we're going to cut into it for you after I show you how we made it. Before we go into the kitchen, you're going to want to know that on Thursday, April 4th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, Leanne at Mennonite Farmhouse is going to host a live giveaway, and they're giving away a $100 gift card. And that's the grand prize. So that's going to be taken from a random drawing. So leave a kind and thoughtful comment to all the channels, please. And then if you show up to the live, you have other chances to win other fun prizes. Doesn't that sound like a blast?
It sounds dandy.
Okay, let's go through the steps of this bad boy. It looks so good. For the first part of this recipe, we're going to take 2 ripe bananas. They can have a little bit of brown on them, but not too much. Don't make it like you're going to be making banana bread, and you don't want green bananas either. So I'm going to put these 3 off to the side because we'll be using those later. And I already have my butter separated. I have 4 total tablespoons of unsalted butter, and I'm going to be using 1 tablespoon with these to start the custard. We're going to peel these bananas. Oops, look at that. And we're going to be cutting them into 1/2 inch slices. Next, over medium-high heat, we're going to melt 1 tablespoon of unsalted butter. And now we're going to add our bananas, and we're going to cook these for about 2 minutes until they're just becoming soft. So I'm just going to swish them around a little bit. I lowered my heat just a little bit after the butter got melted, but we're still on a medium-high. For the most part, we are blooming these. I'm going to go ahead and give them a little swish. Make sure they don't stick to the bottom of the pan. And they're getting soft. You can actually see how they're kind of starting to break apart and render their outer part of the slices. And at this point, we are going to add 2½ cups of 50/50. We're going to bring this to a boil, and I'm going to set my timer because once it comes to a boil, we will boil it for exactly 2 minutes. Okay, and now we're going to go ahead and set our timer for 2 minutes, and I'm going to be stirring this constantly. And now we're going to remove from the heat and cover, and we're going to set it off to the side for 40 minutes. Next, we're going to whisk 8 egg yolks, 1/2 cup of sugar plus 2 tablespoons, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I just used table salt. We're going to whisk this together until smooth. Make sure you use a large bowl when you do this. Okay, that is nice and smooth. Actually, when I rub it between my fingers, it's nice and smooth. I can feel that. Okay, so wipe my fingers off here. Now we're going to take 3 tablespoons of cornstarch, and we're going to add that to this egg yolk mixture. It is worth noting that I've been cleaning up as I go, and we're about 5 minutes away from the banana and half mixture from cooling down completely. So I'll just mix this up and we'll get on to the next step. All right, now we're going to shut off our timer. And we're going to put a fine mesh strainer over this bowl. We're going to take our half and half mixture with banana, and we're going to go ahead and pour it in here. Now, one important thing to note is that you do not want to smash the bananas. And the reason you don't want to press or smash the bananas is that would turn this a gray color. And we don't want our custard to be gray. We want it to be yellow like bananas. So please note and don't do that. I am going to help this through without smashing the bananas. All right, we're just going to whisk that until it is just incorporated. I'm going to go ahead and scrape my sides of my bowl down there and make sure we get all of this yummy goodness in there. And then we just have a couple more ingredients that we're going to add to this bowl before transferring it to a clean bowl. We have 2 more ingredients that we're going to add and whisk in. And then we're going to transfer it to a clean medium saucepan over medium heat to finish the custard. So we're just going to put that butter in there. And that was the remaining 3 tablespoons, which I had already cut into pats. And then we have 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract. And my brother and his wife brought me some nice Mexican vanilla from a vacation. So that's what we're going to use today. It has such a beautiful floral fragrance. I think it's really going to complement these bananas. All right. So now what I'm going to do is take you over to the stove, and we are going to cook this mixture down into a pastry cream. And here we are back at the stove. I'm going to go ahead and pour this mixture into a medium saucepan. And I'm also going to make sure that I scrape everything out of the bowl and into the pan. At this point, I am also going to preheat my oven to 375 degrees because we're going to be pre-baking our pie shell in the next step. Okay, so over medium heat, we're going to go ahead and we're going to whisk this. And we want to whisk it constantly. And then it's going to be thickening. And at about the 4 to 6 minute mark, we should have a temperature on an instant read thermometer of approximately 180 to 185 degrees. I am going to get a piece of parchment paper, and I'm going to put a little bit of spray oil on it, and we're going to set it on top of there so that we don't get a skin. This is pastry cream. First time I've ever made it. All right, so I've got this greased piece of parchment paper, and I'm going to press it down on top. I got this recipe from America's Test Kitchen, okay? So I'm gonna follow everything they did because they've done the testing. And once again, I kind of jumped the gun on my butter, but that's okay. So we're gonna put this off to the side and it needs to cool down for about an hour, okay? So we'll see you in a minute because next we are gonna be putting our pie shell in the oven. Okie doke, so America's Test Kitchen for this recipe did recommend a pre-done pie shell from the store. So I have this and it says to roll it out to about a 12-inch round. It's worth noting that the recipe I'm using probably has been changed a few times and updated, but this particular pie crust was 12 inches round. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of a zhuzh, and then we're going to lay it into our 9-inch pie plate. So I'm going to make sure that it is laying over this evenly, and then I'm going to tuck in carefully to make sure that all of the edges are down. Oh, my nails are hitting that. And then we're going to tuck the dough under all the way around, making sure that it meets the edge of the pie plate. And then we'll make it as pretty as we can. I'm not much of a baker, so this is going out of my comfort zone. I'm like a savory kind of cook, you know, dinners, meals, that type of thing, but just not much of a baker. I'm not much of a dessert eater. I think that's why this never has really done that much for me. I do enjoy it once in a while, but I definitely don't need to have dessert every single day or even every single week. Not even a bowl of ice cream. Just never, you know, some of us like certain things. Oops, that one folded in on itself. Okay, so bear with me, kiddos. So I'm going to kind of pinch and push. Pinch and push. I hope I'm doing this okay. Next time I do this, I am going to be making a homemade crust. I do make homemade pie every Thanksgiving. I do make sometimes an apple pie, but definitely a pumpkin pie or two. So I do enjoy that. It's kind of a family tradition, and I enjoy it. Making it pretty. Yeah, these fingernails are kind of getting in the way. I'm not used to having them, so just have to be careful. This is going to be a rustic crust. That's what we're going to call it. Now what we need to do is to put this into the refrigerator for 40 minutes, and then we're going to freeze it for another 20 minutes. I guess I could have left my oven off until this point, but it is ready to go. So maybe I'll go bake something in the meantime for dinner. So we refrigerated for 40 minutes, we froze for 20 minutes, and now we have a 12-inch square of aluminum foil, and we're going to press it in because we're going to do what's called blind baking. All right, so we want to make sure that we have it covered, but we do not want to burn that crust, okay? So I'm satisfied with that. Now I asked JJ for pie weights for Christmas one year, and what do you know, I got them. If you don't have pie weights, you can use beans. Pinto beans are a good choice. So now my pie weights are in, and we're going to bake this at 375 for 20 minutes. Okay, so I've taken it out of the oven and I brought it out carefully so that it was in the same orientation as when I put it in, okay? Now, it's already starting to get brown. And very carefully, I'm going to take these pie weights out with the foil. And I'm going to go ahead and just put them into a bowl off to the side. It's a heat-safe bowl, and that will allow them to cool down. It's getting a little brown on the bottom, so I'm going to take really a lot of care to make sure it doesn't burn. So I'm going to go ahead and throw it back in the oven, probably just for about another 5 to 10 minutes to make sure that these sides, I don't know if you can see them and I don't want to touch it, but the sides are not quite as crispy as we'd like. This is getting crispy, but it isn't completely done. Okay, so we'll be back in 7 to 11 minutes. We did rotate the pan before putting it back into the 375 degree Fahrenheit oven. Okay, so I would rather have a crispy crust than something that's going to sog out. So it did get a little brown here, but I wanted to make sure the sides were done. I'm happy with it. It smells good, it's not burnt. So I took it out after 6 minutes. And again, this was a pie crust from a package, okay? So we kind of cheated a little bit, but not too bad. So we're going to let our pie crust cool to room temperature, and then we'll come back for the next step. Oh my gosh, you guys, this is gonna be so good. We have our remaining 3 bananas. So let's go ahead and peel them up. And I'm gonna take orange juice, put about 2 tablespoons in the bottom of the bowl. And we are going to slice these into that orange juice to retain the color. So now we're actually going to be making whipped cream. And I want to show you that I went ahead and cooled this bowl down with freezing water. I put a little bit of water, a lot of bit of water, and some ice cubes in here, okay? I'm actually gonna dump those out and wipe it down really quickly. And I put my cream into the freezer for about 20 minutes to make sure that it was cold. The colder we start with all of this whipped cream, the better and frothier and just perfect whipped cream we're gonna get. Okay, so here we are. We're gonna go ahead and put the one cup of heavy cream. Don't skimp here, please get heavy whipped cream. Then we're going to do 2 tablespoons of powdered sugar, also known as confectioner sugar. 1, leveling it off, 2, and then a half a teaspoon of vanilla. Yep, oh, that's a half a teaspoon for sure. All right, so now what we're gonna do is put this down, and we are going to whip this on medium-low speed until foamy for about 1 minute. Then we're just gonna go ahead and increase the speed to high and whip until stiff peaks form, which will take about 1 to 3 more minutes. Here we go. Okay, we're at about a minute and it is getting really foamy. So at this point, we're gonna go ahead and turn it up to high, and we're gonna whip until stiff peaks form, about 1 to 3 more minutes. It's really firm. Yeah, that's nice. All right, everybody, you have no idea how good it smells in my house. Okay, so here's our pie crust. It's kind of loose in here. I'm actually going to make a homemade pie crust the next time. Here's our custard. Now I'm going to give it, it's been sitting out and cooling for quite a while. All right, let's cut into this. So I don't know if you all know this, but apparently if you cut 3 slices of pie and take the middle slice out, your pie will come out easier for plating. So that's what we're going to do right now. It definitely set up. So yeah, when we did this recipe, we used the, there you go, honey.